can't swim.
You can't what?
I can't swim.
How old are you?
6.
Help him, he can't swim.
Time he learned. Everybody should swim. Just reach out in front of you and grab a handful of water. Pull it back towards you. Not too fast. That's the way I learned.
I did it, Emerado, I did it!
Good.
Well, how'll he get back?
Swim.
Well, he might drown.
Well, then you go get it.
Well, I can't swim either.
Run.
Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel, and today we'll be looking at chapter 5 of the IGCSE ICT for exam from 2023. So this chapter we are looking at the effect of using IT. So the main objectives for this chapter, the first thing we'll be looking at the microprocessor-controlled devices. I will look at the application in different areas like our homes, transportation, and other situations. And in the last part, which is the second of the main objectives, we'll look at health issues from the prolonged use of computers and how we can try to or strategies we can implement to prevent or stop these issues from taking place. So the first thing, as I said, the first main objective is to look at microprocessor controlled devices. So first of all, we need to understand what are microprocessor controlled devices. That's what someone will ask you. Simply, like as a layman, in a layman's way of explaining this, all these pictures you're seeing, these are microprocessor controlled devices. So any device basically which has which makes use of some form of automation to carry out an activity. Like you can use a remote to control your TV, captures channel from millions of miles away. You have a rice cooker or whatever this is. You just start to cook while you're maybe sitting and watching a movie. Your food is cooking for you. Then you have the treadmill you can use to do sport. It helps you to run rather than running on a normal road or a track. You use this automated machine to do sport. Then we have the microwave oven, which most of us make use of, and then this is a vacuum cleaner. So this is used to maybe cleaning homes. So these are all microprocessor controlled devices. So there's what they call a microprocessor. It's like a computer, which is basically the brain of the system. Is programmed to make the system perform specific activities. So that is what we we call a microprocessor. And then the devices in which these microprocessors are incorporated to perform specific functions are what we call microprocessor controlled devices. So they are not limited to this. We also have washing machines, security systems, as we will be seeing as we proceed. Now the first thing we want to look at, how do microprocessor controlled devices affect how, when they are used in the home, how do they affect our lifestyle, our leisure time, and physical fitness. So definitely these devices affect us in one way or the other, either positively or negatively. So firstly, we'll look at the advantages of these devices on our lifestyle, leisure time, and physical fitness. The first advantage is that people no longer have to do manual work. Yes. So in many places now around the world, you have washing machines. If the clothes are dirty, your clothes or dresses are dirty, you just drop it there, set all the functions, and you can walk away, and after some time your dresses are cleaned for you. So that is it saves you from doing manual work. Even the vacuum cleaners, they also help with that. And next, we look at it gives more time for leisure activities, hobbies, and socializing. So while the machines are doing the automated tasks, you can use that time maybe to link up with friends. You can use it to engage in other leisure activities. So that is a major advantage. And then another advantage is that it's also possible to control home devices. Often, like, you have smart fridges, you have ovens, and which can be linked to a smartphone, and you can control it easily. So these are very good advantages. And when we go to the disadvantages, we find that every good thing has most good things and have a bad side of them. So for such devices, we have unhealthy lifestyle due to regular exercise through manual work. So you find that probably people used to walk around, or people used to cook or wash, now tend to do it with a machine, which prevents them from doing exercise. Some people tend to be obese because they don't do physical work, which makes them very lazy. So people become lazy due to dependent on devices. So it is also a major disadvantage, which you need to take note of. So don't allow such devices to make you lazy or make you stop doing regular exercise. All of these are very important. And then potential to lose household skills. Yeah, some people now they don't even know how to cook, they don't know how to do a lot of things just because there are machines to do those things for them. But some things always need that human touch. So it's very important. So also have the risks of cybersecurity threats. So your devices can actually be hacked into. People can hack into your security systems and other system and monitor you or cause you harm. So those are some of the disadvantages of these devices in our home. Now we'll look at some issues when we use some of these devices in our home. So the first major issue is data security issues. So when we make use of microprocessor controlled devices in our home, they are normally connected to the internet, and this can lead to cyber security issues. So a hacker can gain access to remotely controlled home devices and access personal data about you. So that is a data security issue when it comes to making use of microprocessor devices in the home. And they can also these hackers can obtain personal details from you, such as your holidays, which will give them time to break into your house. They can collect credit card details through, maybe because we have smart fridges that you can make to order things for you online, maybe automate it. So once you do that, you definitely have to supply it with your credit card details. So hackers can get into your systems and steal such details, which they can use to in turn steal from you. So those are data security issues. Now the next thing is we have social interactions, which affect. So this is one of the effects of making use of microprocessor controlled devices. They have affected social interactions. It's quite difficult nowadays to see people gathered around like this, discussing and having fun with each other. Very often you find people, they are locked onto their phone. Phones have turned to be like humans, which shouldn't be the case. And this tend to be problems. So, but however, microprocessor control devices have some positive impact on the social interactions. So you can use such devices like smartphone to make new friends, and using chat room maybe connect with your friends who are distant from you. So easy to communicate with family members through video calls, and you can also share find people who share similar interests or hobbies with you online. So these are the positive aspects of it. But on the negative side, how much processor devices negatively influence our lifestyle in terms of interactions, support social interactions. So it leads to social isolation, as many people do not meet face to face. So it's a problem. You see, some people have stage fright and all these things. They cannot speak in public. They cannot even stand in front of somebody and speak. So those are issues which are brought about. Some of them are brought about by microprocessor control devices. Some people are often insulted, cyberbullied online. So that is also a problem. And then some people tend to be more anxious meeting people in real life. So that's a problem. Depression and many other things, because you don't speak with people normally physically. You're always behind your computer or on your phone. So that's definitely an issue. Now, just to, see a little bit of comprehension what we've looked through so far. Let's see question. This is a past question from specimen paper for 2023. That's question 11, which says microprocessor controlled devices in the home have had positive effect on people's lifestyles. One of the positive effects of using these devices is that we can now set a cooker to switch on whilst we are out so that we arrive home to a cooked meal. This is fantastic. So describe the positive effect of using one of microprocessor controlled devices in the home. Yeah, just imagine you coming back from work and you come home, nobody's in the house, but your cooker has cooked food for you. Can you imagine that? So, now they're asking you describe the positive effect of using other microprocessor control devices in the home. So, can you just think about this for a second? And this is actually fascinating. As I always say, ICT, it's real life applications and it's really, really important. That's what I always tell my students. So, first thing maybe you want to think of, it's not limited to this. These are some of my ideas and some I took them from the Max Games, which is just to make sure we are on track. Now, the first thing you might want to think of is it reduces the need to do manual tasks at home. Then people have more time for leisure, shopping, socialized activities, or it will help in security as home protected with like burglar alarms, smoke, fire alarms, and all those things. Those are microprocessor controlled devices. Then another point could be that it saves energy as heating, air conditioning system can be automatically turned on and off. So that is the case in most places. You don't need to be switching on and off those system. And also, like it mentioned, you can remotely control the device, like having your food cooked before you even get home. So that's remote controlling. You may probably using your smartphone. So this is just a quick recap. Any four of these points should give you all 4 marks, and you're good to go. Now, the next aspect we want to look at is microprocessor control devices being used in monitoring and controlling transport. So if you look at most of our roads, our transport network in the developed countries, you'll find that the road has quite a number of road signs, cameras, and sophisticated digital systems which are able to do quite a lot. But this is something which you not is not very common in the underdeveloped countries. But it's something to look at. So that it's a technological advancement. So the first thing is the area where these micros are used for in monitoring and controlling transport in traffic to monitor traffic on motorways. So you find that we have smart motorways. They are remotely monitored and controlled by a central computer system. So that's why maybe in countries like the US, you see somebody run a traffic light, like you when the light turns red, you run across it, but yet the system, in a week or so, you receive a mail from the authorities with a fine. You have to pay it by your one, like. So it's because the motorway is smart. They are able to capture people who violate such rules and regulations, and you are fined for that. So that's a smart motorway and it's very good. And then we also have even traffic lights are remotely controlled. So at times you find that if there's so much traffic congestion at a particular place, they can redivert it to another area using traffic lights. So that's also very fascinating and important things you need to take into account. So in cases of accident, also considerable traffic, then the central computer uses the smart motorway signs to monitor and control traffic to avoid accident. So yeah, there are even applications that will prompt you that, oh, there is a checkpoint ahead, oh, there is an accident ahead. So these are the advancement that are making life even more better and preventing accidents on our roadway. So this is pretty it's really good. And the next place where microprocessor control devices are used in transport are in rail and airline network control systems. So we have computerized monitoring system which are made to for monitoring and controlling train and airline networks. So planes don't just fly like that. Trains don't just move anyhow. They are controlled from somewhere. So it's important to know that. computerized control has made it possible to run more efficient transport timetables. So planes don't just fly like that in the air. They have a path they have to take. They have a timeline to move from one place to another. If not, they will crash into each other in the air. So it's important they have a central system which controls planes and all the rest. So what are the advantages of making use of these devices for controlling airlines and railway lines? Now, the first thing as an advantage is that it makes it more efficient for transport network, cars, trains, and airplanes to move a regular service. And secondly, smart motorways lead to reduction in traffic jams and less journey time. So that's also an advantage. They also have traffic offenses can easily be identified and penalized with the help of ANPR. So this automatic number plate recognition system, as I earlier mentioned, so they are able to capture that and they indicate will send you a mail with a fine. And also stolen vehicles and criminals can easily be spotted using automatic number plate recognition. So this is very important too. You find that in some places when they steal your car, you don't even need to worry about seeing that car again. But in advanced developed countries, you find it, with this kind of system, it's able to pick up number plates on the road and others report them to the authorities. Now, in terms of disadvantages, you see that in case of system failures or fault, the whole transport system will be halted. And then also have computerized systems can be hacked, causing disruptions to the system. Poorly designed network system could compromise safety, so that's also very important. So some people say that when they use their number plate, the number plate recognition system means they monitor your movement, and that is true. That actually leads to your movement being tracked, because they can tell you where you went to, when, and what route you use. So that's some form of monitoring. So it's also an issue. Also, another area where microprocessor control devices are being used is autonomous vehicles. Yeah. The first thing that comes to your mind is Tesla. Yeah, they have such cars, and other companies do have two cars where driverless. When we talk about autonomous, I mean driverless cars, and we're heading to a future where we're going to have cars which do not need drivers. You just need to get into a car and it takes you wherever you want to go. So that's what we look at autonomous. Now they make use of basically sensors, which we discussed in chapter 1, cameras, actuators, and microprocessors together with software to perform specific actions. So the sensors and cameras, they act like the eyes and ears, or whatever you want to put it. And the actuators, once ever a sensor sees something on the cameras, they are able to cause the actuator to perform a particular function via the microprocessors. Now, cameras and sensors are able to gather data from the surroundings. So if you see, these are signals that are sent out. So once the signal goes out, you see that from it can pick up that, oh, there's a car on this side, there's a car on this side. It calculates the distance. This happens within a few seconds. And once it calculates the distance, they can know that, oh, I can pass in between. So that keeps happening as the car makes its way to wherever it is going. So this is how autonomous vehicles work. But the actuators, on the other hand, they're able to make use of signals from the sensors to perform physical actions such as change gear, turn the steering wheel, and apply brakes. So these cars are actually very good, and yeah, it's a really good innovation which is going to, well, definitely has its advantages and disadvantages, as is always the case with most technological advancement, but it's pretty good if you looked at it from one side. Now, let's look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of such systems. I'll discuss just two or three, and you can always read on the others. So it is much safer as human error removed against few accidents, so that's an advantage. So a car driving itself, you'll find that it's much safer as human error is removed. It's common in most African countries. You find drivers insulting themselves at the roadside. Some will even park their cars just to insult, and that causes traffic and possible accidents. So this kind of systems ignore that. And then there's also reduction in traffic congestions. From what I just said, it still brings us to this. So we also have more of efficient operation of vehicles, which is good for the environment. And then we should also find that vehicles can find car parking and park on their own. So we also have vehicles that can actually do that with the help of the cameras, sensors, and other things. So these systems will need a robust digitized system, a GPS system which is functioning properly so that it can locate wherever it's going with ease. Now, advantages, disadvantages, we find that the high technology requirement, very expensive setup. That's true. You will not see these cars just anywhere. I mean, they're very expensive. And then we also have safety and security issues. Our system is vulnerable to cyber criminals. That's true. Yeah, maybe if you watch a lot of movies, you'll find that in some cases such cars are hacked, and you see that, or even a car where the person can drive but which has a digital system, they hack into it and they redirect the car's route to another place, and such things always happen. And then we also have vehicles control system can be hacked into. They get the personalities or they control the vehicle. That can happen, and it has happened in some cases. So those are also disadvantages we need to look at. And that's always the case for most technological advancement. You can look at the other ones while I move on to autonomous trains. So these are also microprocessor controlled devices, just like us. These ones are trains. So driverless trains. So they've been around for a number of years. If you go to developed cities, China, you find them. Japan, you find them. USA, you find them. The UK, you find them. So basically, they make use of a LiDAR, that's light detection and ranging technology for navigation. So it helps them to, with the help of lasers, they are able to build up a 3D image of the surrounding. So this is the second image here. You see, you cannot see the light with your eyes, it's not visible, so it's invisible light, so they can shine and check what is in front of them while they speed off to wherever they're going to. So they are also equipped with sensors and cameras for control to ensure safety and security. So we also find trains also make use of GPS technology for accurate navigation. So that's why I said previously that GPS technology will be really important if we want to fully transition into autonomous vehicles. Of course, you don't want a car or a train to move from A to B and it ends up coming out at C. So that is bad. And then we also find that actuators help in controlling speed, braking, opening and closing the doors. So as I told you before, what we learn as we progress, we just build upon what we've learned previously. All these actuators, sensors, and this and that. We've learned all of these things in chapter 1, chapter 2. If you've forgotten, go back, the videos are there. Watch them again and let me know if you have any questions. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of autonomous trains? That's similar to those of autonomous vehicles. They are very punctual. That's one advantage because of the timetables they use. That's, you've seen people who have messed up their whole day just because they missed a train. So you have to wait like for the next 2 or 3 hours or 1 hour or number of minutes just for it to get the next train, which is a problem. This is typical of the developed countries. So we also have reduced running costs as fewer staff are needed. Yeah, we have a train that drives itself. You don't need to pay anybody to run that train. You don't need to pay anybody to check for security. The train operates itself on its own. Then we also have improved safety as human error is removed, and train schedules can easily be changed, deploying more trains during busy hours. So it's typical also in developed countries. You find that there's times which we call busy hours, maybe during the summer or so. You find that many people are going out, but during the winter, the number is minimal. So such timetables can always switch. We switch from the central system. Then disadvantages, we have the security issues as trains control system can be hacked into. So those are always issues: hacking, cyber criminals, getting into systems and causing problems. High initial capital and professional cost, that's always true. System currently does not work well with very busy services, that's true, and others. And then now we have pilotless or autonomous aeroplanes. Yeah, that's typical, but we don't have commercial airplanes which pilotless. There's always a pilot, but there's an option we call autopilot. So, but most drones, you see this type of drones, these are drones they use for spying and all those kind of things, and maybe discharge of bombs, and yeah, these are just things um, they use maybe during military wars and the rest. And then these are like new autonomous planes that have been developed which will be used in the future, and for travel transportation. So these are just a snippet of what we expect in the years ahead. So we expect these planes to have sensors to detect turbulence, uh, and then use of GPS for navigation and speed calculations, sensors for automatic decision and control pressure in the cabin, use of actuators for various control operations. So, we expect all those planes to have these features and to be able to manage them accurately, because if these are not well managed, there will be lots of accidents. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of autonomous planes? What are people talking? What are people saying about this? So there's going to be reduced running costs as fewer staff are required. So you might not have pilots in the plane. So it's an advantage to the airline, but a disadvantage to the human being probably. Um, and then another advantage is that improves safety due to reduced pilot induced errors which can lead to crashes. Yes, some crashes have occurred due to the errors from pilots, so this could also be an advantage. Disadvantages will have security concern in case of onboard terrorists. This is a problem. Difficulty in managing emergency situation during flight. So this is a really big issue, which is a lot of people are talking about it. Passengers are reluctant to accept the new technology. Yes, as I said, this is something that will be difficult for people to take in. You know, accepting to fly in the air is already a very big risk you're taking, and then now flying in the air is something that no one is controlling, but the thing is controlling itself. That's another level of risk. And you might want to take a little break and try to bring your mind or think about what we've just seen. Basically, we looked at microprocessor devices, control devices in the home. We'll look at the effects of these microprocessor devices on lifestyle, leisure, and physical fitness. We look at data security issues due to microcontrolled devices being used in the home. We look at social interactions, and finally we also looked at monitoring traffic on motorways, rail and airline network control systems, and we've looked at autonomous vehicles, autonomous trains, and autonomous planes. Now we're diving into the next objective, which is potential health problems associated with the prolonged use of IT equipment. So whenever you use an IT equipment, whatever you're using now, your computer, your phone, you find that there are always health issues associated with this device. You might be having eye problems, but you don't know it's your computer that's causing it, or your phone, because most of the time that's what you're using. And so the first issue we'll look at health issue you have is eye strain, which is caused by staring at the computer screen for too long or poor lighting. So if you stare at the computer screen for too long, it's a problem. Or if you have poor lighting in your room, your lab, or wherever you use your computer, it could also cause your eye strain. So what are some possible ways you can eliminate this issue? You can take regular breaks, use anti-glare screens if room lighting is poor, use modern monitors, so CRT, LCD, LED, OLEDs. Use the best of monitors you can afford just to um, prevent some of these issues. Then the next heart risks we have is repetitive strain injury. This is a very common one. So repetitive clicking on the mouse or on the continuous typing on the keyboard will cause you risk problems where this man is holding. So that's the risk. Then to prevent such or eliminate these issues, you need to also take regular breaks and exercise, stretch your hands, move your legs, and all those things. And then you should use rest when using the mouse or keyboard. So, and you can also make use of an ergonomic keyboard. Ergonomic mouse is very important. That will help to prevent these issues. Another heart risk you can get is back and neck pain. So this is usually due to bad sitting posture. If your chair or whatever is sitting, your chair is not well positioned and you are not sitting in an upright manner, or a monitor is not well positioned for you to sit well, that will cause your back and neck pain. So sitting in one position in front of a computer for a long time is one of the major causes. Use ergonomic chairs to prevent or eliminate this. Use adjustable screen, raise to the correct height to adjust that. Yeah. The next thing we have is headaches. So poor lighting, flickering screens, and screen reflections are major causes of headaches when using IT devices. And how to reduce or eliminate this? You take regular breaks, use anti-glare screens, and ensure proper room lighting. Ozone irritation. So whenever I use devices, there is this gas which is released. We call them ozone irritation. So laser printers release ozone, which can lead to dry skin and respiratory problems. So you need to take note of this. Don't be where they printing a lot for so long that you don't go out to get some good air. You won't see the ozone, but it gets into your system. So ensure proper room ventilation. So if you have a printing room or an area where the printer is, make sure it's well ventilated. Make use of inkjet printers. Well, those are some options you can use to eliminate or reduce the risks. So here is someone, I mean, this is something that most of us do when they say sleep, or when you go to sleep, instead of sleeping, you go back to your phone, isolate yourself, and you're chatting or doing whatever you're doing, that you're causing yourself heart problems. So this is ozone. And as I say, heart is worth. You need to really be careful with the way you use IT equipment. As good as they are, they're also very dangerous, and they have killed some people actually. So you need just a word of caution. You need to really be very careful when you use IT equipment. Make sure you use it to help you and not to destroy you. So that is very important. Now we have an exam question here just to test what we just saw. That's placement paper for 2023, question 7C. Say developer spends a great deal of time using a computer for each of the statements given. Identify a hard problem and describe a possible solution. Your answer must be different in each case. So they want you to identify a hard problem from the person using a computer for a great deal of time, and next they want you to identify or describe a possible solution for that problem you identify. So just think about it. We looked at repetitive strain injury. So you could use an ergonomic keyboard or mouse. You can do hand exercises. You can use voice activated software. That software is that you just speak and it types for you, but you need to be really clear in your speech for it to understand. And the next thing, sitting for too long in one position, the possible health problem could be back or neck pain. So you should take regular breaks, use ergonomic or adjustable chairs, use a foot rest. So this is as simple as this for 4 marks. Just to mention, here you just need this and this, and then this and this. Just one point here, 1 point here. You don't need to list all of this. So these are just different options for you to select whatever you want to select, but the point you give here, don't give the same point here. Make sure they are different. The next question now is, they say you use a computer to do your homework. You are concerned about the health issues of using a computer. Yes, health issues of using a computer. You should always be concerned. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of different methods you could use to help minimize the hard problems of using the computer. So you are supposed to discuss the advantages and disadvantages. As I always tell my students, make short points. Short points. So once you see 6 marks, it means you can give 4 advantages and 3 disadvantages, so you can give 3 advantages and 4 disadvantages. But always make sure you start with your best points. Give more of that. Don't give 4-2. They might not score you on that. You might lose some marks. Always try to give a balance. 4-3, 5-3. Sorry, 4-3, and no 3-3, or you do 3-3 or 4-2. I think 3-3 or 4-2 should work. So always try to do that. So first of all, the advantage is using voice activated system reduces repetitive strain injury. So you can also use ergonomic mouse to reduce array size. So what we are doing is we are stating the advantage and what that advantage will achieve. Then if the computer is not used for long hours, it will reduce back aches, neck pain, eye strain. So that means don't use the computer for too long hours. Then using an ergonomic chair reduces back pain. And now disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? And the different methods you could use to help minimize the hard problem using the computer. Taking regular breaks, what would that do? What would that cost you? Maybe if you are working on a project. If you take regular breaks, it will increase your working hours. Next, cost of using safety equipment can be expensive. For like the ergonomic keyboards, ergonomic chairs, they're quite expensive, but worth the risk. So they are worth it. So to minimize, your health is your world. So they are worth the expense. Now they say using voice activated systems can lead to many errors. So that's something you should also look into. You can use voice activated systems, and in some cases, if your speech is not as clear as it should be, as I mentioned, it will lead to errors, which we will need to later on maybe correct, which will cost you more time. Laptops can be difficult to ensure the screen is 90 degrees out. The whole unit needs to be moved. So that's also a problem. Desktops are always easy to adjust. That's why you find that even before laptop, they tend to connect the laptop to a desktop, because a laptop, as good as it is, at times viewing on it, working with it, is becomes challenging at some point. So that's a disadvantage. And that brings us to the end of this chapter. And please let me know in the comment section if you have any questions, and you should like and subscribe to the channel. You should also know that you can be anything you want to be. Don't limit yourself, and just try to work hard, and you'll be fine. So see you in the next video, and stay blessed. Thank you.